everyone, welcome to this video. Thank you very much for clicking on it, I really appreciate it. Today I am finally checking out PIXY's Addicted practice video. They dropped this a couple of days ago. I originally was going to check it out yesterday and then my brain decided, no filming today. So I'm checking it out today. But what I did do yesterday is I actually went through and I rewatched all of the story films, simply because I know that PIXY, or shall I say Men of the Future, work in a lot of story themes and symbolism and stuff into the choreo, and I wanted to be able to pick up on as much as I could. I'm sure I'm not going to pick up on everything, but I wanted to be able to see as many details as I could and sort of see how the choreo feeds into the story of it all, because PIXY's story, PIXY's lore is one of the ones that it's actually probably the group lore that I am the most invested in, and it's the one that I follow the most closely, just because it's not as confusing as some others. Looking at you. Not as confusing as some others. There's not as much to kind of take in, but it's still really fun and a really cool story to follow. So yeah, I just wanted to be as prepared as possible going in. But like I said, I'm probably not going to pick up on everything. I'm probably going to get distracted by various things, like how hard they're killing it and whatnot, and various moves. But we're going to have a good time because it's PIXY. Men of the Future do PIXY choreos so well. Honestly, their previous two choreos, or technically three if we count the Moon as well, are some of my favorite choreos that have dropped this year. So yeah, it's gonna be a good time. Let's get into it. Now here's what I'm probably gonna do. I'm probably gonna just watch this through once. I'm probably not gonna say a lot. You know, might throw out a couple of things here and there, but I'm probably just gonna watch this through once, kind of take it all in. And then we'll go through it again and then I'll talk more. It's sort of like I do with my music video reactions. Just because it's PIXY choreos, man. They're so cool and I like to dissect them. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Feel free if you want to just fast forward through this first watch and get to the part where I start going into it in more depth. Feel free to skip ahead if you want to. Or just, you know, enjoy the song with me. Let's do it. 3, 2, 1, go. The imagery, the symmetry, it's stunning. Wow. Holy shit! By the way Dajong does that bend back is insane. Interesting. Okay. God, that's so fucking cool. I'm telling you, the imagery, the imagery that is created in their choreographies is insane. It's absolutely insane. Like, I follow a lot of groups. I by no means have seen every single choreo that is out there, and I'm sure there are some that would equally blow me away. But there is something about the imagery in PIXY's choreos that just sets them apart from pretty much every other group that I follow. And that isn't to say that those groups don't have incredible choreos, because they do, but just the imagery, the storytelling, like they're painting pictures in this choreo and it is stunning. Like, there's several things that I love about the way Men of the Future have been doing PIXY choreos. That is obviously one of them, the way that they create this imagery. Two, the way they play with formations, and sort of following on from that, the way that they will highlight members for their specific parts, right? Is really, really cool, because it's not always like the obvious choice. That I think is what I love most, is there's nothing obvious really about these choreos. Like it never really, they never really move in a way you expect them to. Like the way the moves go from one to the next is never really in the way you expect it to. The way the formations go isn't the way you expect it to. Like it's just so cool and interesting, and it feels new, which is impressive, because when you watch as much as I do, when you watch as much choreo stuff as I do, and like this isn't even necessarily just to do with K-pop, like even before I started this channel, even before I got into K-pop, I am a huge lover and appreciator of dance, and I have watched a lot of choreo videos. I've watched choreo all over the place. I love it. I love dance. And this is why I get very excited when I see videos like this. But when you come across something and you're like, God, these are just some things that just feel so new and fresh and innovative, even though technically, yes, the moves will have been done somewhere at some point. It's the way it's all crafted together just feels so fresh, and I'm obsessed with it. I really, really am. Like, I hope that All Art continues to work with Men of the Future for their choreos, because it's just exquisite. It's so good. So freaking good. Okay, alright, we're gonna go through it again. I don't know if I'm actually gonna be able to talk about story too much. I may just end up fangirling over the choreo itself, but there are definitely things that I want to point out. One thing that I think is really interesting is every so often during the choreos, and this is the same is true for the previous two, but every so often, it feels like one of the members is like taking the role of the witch in the story. Like here, like this opening part, for example, it almost feels like Lola is taking on that role. The way she's controlling and manipulating them there is really cool. You know what I mean? And you have little moments like that. And obviously I'm pretty sure anyway that it's meant to be that like 3 of them are like darker fairies and 3 of them are lighter ones. But that isn't necessarily reflected in the story. Because I think if I remember rightly, Lola, Dia, and Dajong are meant to be like the darker fairies, and then Sua, Ella, and Setbil are meant to be the lighter ones. But yeah, like I said, that isn't really something that's reflected in the story, or at least not in the world views. But yeah, I just find it interesting how every so often in these choreos, you see one of the members taking on this darker role in a way that, you know, doesn't align with their pixie self in their fairy self in the story, like in the world views, but does kind of align with like the role of the witch. And I just think that's really cool. It's really, really cool that like they kind of have these amorphous roles throughout the story, at least when it comes to their choreo, because obviously it is just them. Yes, for the previous 2 choreos they've had dancers and stuff, but those dancers are more you know, they aren't taking on like a specific character role, they're more environmental, if that makes sense. It's just it's very cool. But anyway, so yeah, here we have the like, obviously this is going to be reminiscent of the music video and the fact that she was covered, buried, and is breaking free from that grave, and it also ties into the story with her being the one that was thrown over the cliff and betrayed basically by the other 5, namely this one. Is all your fault. It's your fault, Dajong. you got swayed by the witch. Anyway, so yeah, so this is all very reminiscent of that. It's interesting how parts of this are obviously very story focused, and then other parts is just like, this is just for like the song, especially like in the chorus, for example. But yeah, anyway, right, continue. Oh, yeah, I actually wanted to talk about how they kind of move. So this is all super smooth, but the way, it's the way Lola goes back. So obviously all of their hands kind of come away and the like emerges. But it's the way, I just love the way Lola removes her hands, because it's not that she just like moves them down and moves them away. It's like she moves them like back and then disappears. Like she fully shrinks away. You can't even see her, which is impressive for someone who is the tallest in the group. Like, she's just like, bye! Like, and you can't even see her! It's like, oh, there she is! Like, it's just so cool! I love the lift. This is one of those examples. Okay, there's actually a few things. So, go back to the things I was saying before we got started about, like, 3 of the things that I love most. It's like the imagery, which we've talked about here. There's this whole opening shot, the imagery is stunning. Second thing was use of formations. And then third is how they highlight different members. And then also technically fourth, like the way that the way that different moves are just never what you expect them to be. So this is an interesting way of how they highlight a member. So obviously the first person to come through on this like first full verse is Lola. She's right at the back. So what they do, I love that Ella and Dajong are down there, meaning that your eyes draw to this side of the thing, and then Sepio and Dia make this arch and Lola comes through and absolutely delivers on this. But then you also have these two, like that's so cool. They could have just gotten up, but like no, they had to turn it all into a bit of art. And now this, with their arms like that, is that reminiscent? Is that supposed to be reminiscent of the Red Moon? You know, like it just, it's just so cleverly done. Oh yeah. Again with the formation. So I love how these 4 come into this line. And then this is so cool how they move into that formation. It's so cool. Not okay, yay. I love that line that they form. I love this, how they're kind of like running and falling after her. Again, like just a really interesting way of highlighting the member that is singing at that moment. Also, I love Dia's little butt slide across the floor there. Just like, I gotta be over here. Whee! Yeah, and this choreo for the pre-chorus and into the chorus, this is about like the song. So in the verses, they can really play with the formations and the artistry and the imagery and reflect like the story. But whereas for the most part anyway, for the pre-chorus and the chorus, it is much more focused on just like the song and the performance aspect, which is really cool. It's nice that we can have both, because it one gives you a little bit of a rest from it gives them a rest from the intensity of the stuff that they're doing in the verses. But it also means that you just get a chance to fully appreciate the impact of this chorus, you know? But you still got this dope-ass move, though! It's so funny, because you look at them, and it's like, okay, we've got like straight line, little bit of a dip on Suha, straight line. And then there's fucking Dajong. This is what I was saying, like, the way that she does it, she fully arches into it. Like, she's almost in like a full-on crab. like, she's just like going for it. I love it. God, I love this choreo. I love this song so much. I love, they do this a few times actually in this choreo, like the rest of the members dropping to the ground and highlighting the member. I think they do it later for Sewer on the bridge as well. And it's just, it's one of my favorite ways to highlight a member. I find it so effective because you immediately, your attention immediately goes. Again with the controlling of the members, so cool. Ah, that's so cool. I love the way Ella does that with her shoulders there. So cool. How many times have I said the word so cool in this video? Beautiful. Ah, the hands. Like, this is great. This is great. I love that the choreo is different from one pre-chorus to the next. Like, it's just so cool. So obviously the first pre-chorus, you have a pretty standard formation, a pretty standard 6-person formation. You have that bit where they're like reaching down to the ground and like that slow movement while Setbule is saying her piece. This bit is completely different. Setbule steps out and does the same move, but then there's these three, these five, like, doing this wild shit. It's too much of you. I love that move. So cool with the gun cock. Again, yes, there it is, there it is. The other members dropping down to highlight. Sua. Also, the way she pops on that move, when they drop, she like body pops. Yeah. Through her hips and up through her torso. I love like this like almost drunken state that they're in. Yeah, this is again one of my favorite ways that they highlight a member. It's so interestingly done. Like, it's the slow drop from Sewer, but you immediately look at who's behind her. And like, you know, it's not like it's super easy to see her, but you just immediately focus because Sewer's dropped out of the way and your eyes are still lingering there. You just immediately see Dajong. It's so cool. So in my first watch through, I said that this was interesting. I think it's interesting how they've made room in the choreo for Ella to do this one note and not the others, and I can always guarantee that the conversation took place to the effect of which notes do you actually want to be able to hit live and which ones do you not want to try and hit live. And I'm not surprised that this one, yeah, capable of hitting live, so they make room for it in the choreo. But this shit, I'm not surprised she didn't want to do. I'm not surprised she didn't want to try and do that live, because yeah, that would be a nightmare. So she's just singing the chorus line for that, which is still awesome. And the fact that we even have space for the other note is really, really cool. But yeah, I guarantee that was a conversation that was had with the choreographers. Like, okay, this note live, this one, no, because that would be rough. After that choreo, that kind of intensity, hitting that kind of note. Nah, like Ella is damn talented, but there's a lot of ways that you can fuck up your voice trying to do a note like that live after that kind of intense choreo. But anyway, I love this move here where they just like drop to the ground. Ella is such a fun performer to watch. Also, I love that this is basically reversed from the beginning. And then they almost like grow over her. Like, it's so cool. It's so cool. I know I've said, like, somebody should have been keeping a tally of how many times I said that during this video. Maybe I'll keep a counter. Maybe I'll count how many times I say it. Amazing, absolutely amazing. I just love them so much. I said that I thought that they had breached into alt status, and I stand by it. I really think they have. I think they've hop skipped and a jumped their way into my alt line. So good. They're so good, and I love their music, and I love them, and yeah, that's just how it is. Anyway, that's gonna bring me to the end of this one for today. What did you guys think of the choreo? Feel free to point out any details that I missed, because I'm sure there were plenty of them, because I was just kind of freaking out the whole time. But yeah, I love them a whole lot. Thank you guys very much for watching. I will end this one here, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.